Good morning all. Dr. Charan Singh, Chair of the session, dignitaries on the dais, ladies and gentlemen. And thank Mr. Anil Nair for inviting me today for this session. I compliment Policy Circle for the event, which is, I think, on a very, very relevant theme. The G20 today is one of the most significant and strategic multilateral platforms. As we all know, its members collectively constitute over 85% of the global GDP, 75% of the global trade, and houses 2/3 of the world population. India's presidency of this global forum comes at a very opportune time for the country, at a time when our world is grappling with multiple issues. You heard Dr. Charan saying, induced by the pandemic, aggravated by climate change, the Russia-Ukraine conflict, China's political belligerence, rising US-India-China tensions, and immense technological disruption globally. The world is in a state of flux and looking for leadership. And I think this 1 year could be a watershed moment that could make India play a much bigger and more dominant leadership role in the new global world order. In addition to the presidency of the G20, India is also pursuing other parallel goals that are equally, if not more significant. The foremost, of course, as Dr. Charan Singh also mentioned, is to make the country a developed nation by 2047, when India completes 100 years of independence. The Indian economy has been attracting the interest of investors and growth pundits for many years now. Across the globe, the dominant sentiment is that this is India's decade. Additionally, the Indian government has consistently demonstrated year on year its commitment to develop the country, increase in capital spending on building infrastructure, and on several other key areas. The government's vision of Amrit Kal is all-encompassing, imbued with hope, and inspires action. And the government must install such drivers and policies that can stir that inspiration to execution. It is therefore critical that the country should continue to work towards policy changes that will increase ease of living and doing business in India. And since G20 nations account for 85% of the global GDP, and the time is ripe to use this vast network to spur capital investment and technical expertise into the country, especially in new technologies like AI, machine learning, quantum computing, augmented reality, robotics, and all of that. According to me, foreign direct investment is one of the easiest ways to finance growth in the country. There has been a consistent rise in FDI received by India these past years, but India is a shining beacon of hope, and at the present moment, I think much more can be done to accelerate FDI into the country and form such ingenious partnerships that can propel the country towards the vision of Amrit Kal. Global strategic investors who have the money and also the knowledge, expertise on the latest technologies must be attracted by a two-pronged approach that focuses on ease of living and doing business. Firstly, to attract big-ticket investors, India must create innovative and groundbreaking projects that offer unique and lucrative business opportunities such as infrastructure development projects, focus on startups, bolstering of the SaaS, that is the software as a service market, etc. All these require high capital investment, access to the most advanced technological systems, R&D, research, design, etc. The second component in India's marketing push towards such big-ticket investors must be business and consumer-friendly work environment. For ease of living, foreign investors looking to invest in India need to stay in the country for longer periods of time and extended periods of stay if they want to tend to their investments. And to welcome such investors, India should create a holistic ecosystem that encourages foreigners to come, invest, and continue to remain invested in India. By ease of living, I mean a smart globalized environment and a feeling of peace of mind to the global investor by making investor-friendly policies and also pertaining to personal matters like taxation, visa requirements, etc. Currently, foreign investors staying in India, they cannot stay for more than 120 days in certain cases and 182 days in certain other cases. Otherwise, they get taxed on their global income. So not only do they get taxed on the income that is generated in the country, within the country, but they get taxed on their global income. Now, this is a big hurdle for foreign investors who do not want to be taxed on their global income. You know, while they have worked several years overseas, they've created wealth overseas and other sources of income outside India. When they come to India, they do not want to be taxed on that global income. And of course, there's a double taxation avoidance agreements, but those processes are very cumbersome. And then in any case, they have to pay tax in the countries of which they are residents of. Therefore, these investors leave India intermittently. They come to India, but they have to leave India, forcing a break in their investment plans. Investors need time, like I said, to tend to their investments. And sometimes the amount of time required in a project can be beyond the control of the investor. And such hurdles are a serious consideration for any investor looking to invest in India. It is imperative that we benchmark countries like China and Singapore, who have found innovative solutions in the past for promoting FDIs in their respective countries, and have developed flexible policies on personal taxation. In fact, in China in 1994, a proactive policy change enabled China to get huge investments from Chinese who are settled overseas to stay in India. They enabled policy change to enable these Chinese people of Chinese origin to stay in China for extended periods of times without getting taxed on their global income. This resulted in China becoming the largest recipient of foreign direct investment in the world for several years, which could fund their infrastructure and growth. Research reports have been prepared by EY and other firms which substantiate this. Similarly, Singapore offered a very conducive working environment, an investment environment supported by concessionary tax rates, tax exemptions on foreign income. So while they get taxed on the income that they generate in Singapore, but they do not get taxed on the foreign income. Attractive corporate and personal tax rates, ease and efficiency in paying taxes, efficient legal system. Now this allowed it to become a leading destination and a global hub for various foreign conglomerates. It became a commercial hub, a regional hub for many conglomerates, hosting their headquarters in Singapore. Now, several Chinese cities also like Beijing, Hong Kong and Shanghai also adopted this approach and earlier became the preferred choice for international conglomerates. These approaches have worked well for these countries. So why can't India adopt some of these policies? India is still not a preferred destination for investors for locating international offices despite having one of the largest stock markets. It is not a global financial hub. As global politics shifts, India has a golden opportunity to be home to global and regional headquarters for some of the world's leading corporations, potentially attracting the world's largest talent resource pool that can have a domino effect on Indian business and industry. In adopting such policy changes, India has nothing to lose. In any case, foreign investors don't come and stay in the country. If foreign investors don't come and stay in the country, in any case, they do not get taxes on the global income of these foreign investors. But if they come and stay in the country, and if the exchequer comes out with, the exchequer stands only to gain, because if they stay in the country, they obviously generate income and the exchequer gets taxes on those incomes. But in any case, they don't get taxes on their global income. And when they come to India, if there are change in laws, they'll come to India because of the traction of those change in laws. They increase investment in India, build industries, generate employment, and consequently, as I said, pay more taxes in India. As the country with the largest population in the world, almost, and the largest diaspora in the world, I think India's biggest power is people. The country needs to invest in building open networking and communications platforms for these people to interact and partake in building the nation. Of the Indians settled abroad, here I'm specifically speaking of PIOs, persons of Indian origin, and overseas citizens of India. They are highly committed to the motherland and extremely keen to invest in India. But the current policies are not very encouraging or incentivizing them to wholeheartedly dedicate themselves into participating in the growth of the country. In fact, the majority of foreign investors investing in the country can be of Indian origin. My recommendation is not to set a criteria on the type of individual who can invest in the country, but to create such policies that encourage people who have the best interests of the country at heart. They can be a catalyst for a 10x investment so that the country can become a developed nation faster. With a better policy environment, we can attract the best global investment and talent, and as the president of G20, India can try to build its position not only as a leader of the new world order, but also propel its economy for exponential growth. Thank you, and I again thank Dr. Charan Singh for inviting and having me here. Thank you.